Hello. Welcome to our produce. This is a live conversation between Marianela and Helen Redman, our two artists. The show is called Retelling, Recontar, and what we thought we would do today is I have some questions which we can start with, and then if you guys want to take it somewhere else, I'm totally fine with it. Welcome to our audience who's watching live. I think there is a way on YouTube to ask a question, and we will leave some time at the to to see if anybody has a question from whoever is watching. I'm going to ask Lynn to keep time and just let me know so that we have at least a few minutes if there are any questions from the audience. Thanks everybody again for watching and welcome to this conversation. I thought I would start with a question about the pandemic because if we didn't have the pandemic, we wouldn't be doing this live stream. There would be people in the gallery here with us. They would be able to see the work live. And because of the pandemic, things have really shifted in terms of how art is being experienced and also how art is being made. So I feel like we could start with a question about how was the work that you made during the pandemic? I think some of the work that is in the show, maybe a lot of the work that's in the show was made during the last 2 years. How do you think being in that situation or this world event changed something for you in terms of even making the work or what the work was about? And I wonder if you noticed these changes, because you both have been working for a long time and been making bodies of work for a long time. So I was just curious if the pandemic changed something for you.
Thank you. Well, for me, in the beginning of the pandemic, I felt that nothing had changed in the way I work because I live secluded at home. I don't have a studio. I work in my little space at home. So for me, it was the same as always. But when I began to see what was happening, when some friends got sick and some died, it was a completely different approach to work. So at first I did a body of work that is still at the San Diego Museum of Art, which are the title is paintings from the confinement. And after that, I began painting the ones that are here, the extemporaries. And I think that what changed a lot was that I tried to be hard, but subtle. And in these last works, I think that I'm angrier. And that shows in the way I have painted my characters. I am more sarcastic, maybe. I want to be more direct with I want to say. And I don't know what is going to happen. Today I was beginning to do the sketches for a new work, and I thought that I want to return to the more poetic, more calm, and at the same time a very sharp view of what I see, but not as angry, because in Mexico we have this saying that when you are angry, you lose. So, and that's what I think that can change a lot. And for you,
Here, it's interesting because there's the sameness that Marianela's talking about in working isolated, and that's how I work. It's like we're tuning the inner voices up. So being more isolated or in my studio, I think we all have that going in how we work. Yeah, so that, but it's funny because when they first had the show, it was more of the older work, and I was telling my son that. And he said, Mom, you've been apocalyptic for the last 10 years. So it was like, yeah. So I don't know. So many things keep flowing in and out, up and down. Mood shifts are really difficult, and being unable to be with family. Oh, I know. See, that the influence of Zoom and social media and the phone, you know, like even this, I don't know if you can see it, but that creature there that I've, is from a Bitmoji that my granddaughter designed for me. So I can be looking on the, you know, I can call up and say, oh, and then the ubiquitousness of the coronavirus all the time. I don't have as many here where you're seeing that, but I guess you see some of it there. But that over and over, painting that thing, and then the implant in the consciousness of everything happening with what the media has done to our minds and images every time we do that. And I, at this point, I can't watch the news. I mean, my husband, maybe once a week, I'll watch a recap because those images are too much for me. My system can't handle it. So, and it's funny that both Marianela and I are right now on a crazy piece. Like I saw a picture that she's working on. It's augmented reality, and then the heaven and earth upside down, and that thing that you were on there. I found an old sketch of something. Oh God, really a long time ago. Something I called Silly Illies. Where I just do a little collage piece, or I just do a fast line drawing or something. And I was doing, I got into this thing with a male-female and the whole thing of the watching, the male watching all the time. And then my, it's too complicated. Ethan's girlfriend, anyway, did a whole piece on infinity that she sent me. And there were all these things with these cosmos things coming out, black holes. So then, I don't know, I just started putting I saw black holes in the universe because it's also a thing to me of men and women not connected to, I mean, everybody's not connected, but thinking about sexuality, reproduction of species, so, and then pornography all the time that everybody's obsessed with watching, and meanwhile, this universe is expanding, so I got a universe going on. Anyway, it's all crazy. Then I told Savannah, who's in her 20s, and she's an artist that does these really lovely, imaginative, poetic things, and she also draws cosmos. Now, I cannot draw that. You know perspective. I just don't function in perspective at all. That isn't how I do anything. So all of a sudden, I see. And this comes from our collaborating. All this stuff that we've been doing has affected me too. About, okay, you were isolated here, but because of this show and us starting to do this kind of conversation, which you do all the time, and I think you're doing more now too, but very new.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I mean, it's not that I don't work with other people or something, but this kind of interaction, you know, that is definitely a result of the whole isolation of COVID, and that we zoomed and we started creating, and I asked her, and she's come in to see the show, and she started to make her part where things will come down.
But does all the disconnection that we've all experienced, does it make you want to reach more using the art? I mean, I'm trying to figure out, what are these motivations in making the images that that yes, there is something that an artist wants to say and uh, convey, right? But what about connection? What about how do you experience connection while thinking about making a work? Or do you see what I mean? I'm curious how you think about that. What is a viewer going to connect to, or what is your hope in terms of connection?
I have never thought about connections when I'm painting. It's like, no, I need to understand what is happening, then I have to do an image, and then I see an image, and then I understand the world outside, and when I have shown my works, there's a connection. It's without me thinking about how can I connect with others.
Yeah.
There's maybe because I use many archetypes or many of my images are more. There's nothing like a universal that can reach more people. And I have seen people laughing or crying or getting mad or whatever. So there's a connection. But now, and these are my own connections. I have been with my heart is broken because there's this painting about the grandmother that lives inside a phone, and my grandchildren are watching because the only way we could see each other was through a screen.
Yeah.
And not only because of the pandemic, because they live very far away,
Yeah.
and it's very expensive to go, etc., etc. So I went in for Christmas, and I thought that the little one who will turn 3 next week will receive me with all the love, and he will be attached to me. And when he saw me, he said, "I don't like you, return to the phone." Yes, he said that. So I return to the phone. I don't like it here. It was horrible, but I understood. I understood because he never saw me before.
Yeah.
So I had to work on the connection for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
4 weeks. And it was better, but it was not as I would love to be a
You have
grandmother.
to work so hard
Yes.
to kind of get that.
Yeah.
Get that out of ourselves and see it.
Yeah. And thank God for the screens and for everything, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Those connections are fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not the grandmother.
I get you. I have the same. So maybe we could shift a little bit and talk about process maybe a little bit. I'm curious about what's happening for you when you're in the process of making a piece. And is there like a constant negotiation with the piece? Is the work asking for something that you're resisting? Or do you want to put something in there and in one of the archetypes, something that you're thinking about, a word or an idea, and the work is really resisting that, or are always things kind of working smoothly, which they're probably not. So what does that look like for both of you in terms of this negotiation between the work? Because so much of the work here is so complex. There's so much happening. Even at the surface level, there's so much happening, and then if you stay with the work a little longer, you can really see that there's a lot of thought in very, very small details. And I really wonder about how you make these decisions in terms of getting the piece to a place where you're sort of thinking like, okay, I think the negotiation is done. You know, like, okay, I
For
can
now,
step
for
down
now.
a little bit. What does that look like?
Can I do that?
Yes.
Because as long as you can see, because this board, first of all, when I'm on wood, the first thing has to be something very interesting with the grain. And talk about connection, as people have seen what I do. This is another artist that was resurfacing her house or something, Jennifer Spencer, and she brought a board over. And this is not the size board I normally work on, but so the first thing was, it sat in the studio for a long time, and I just kept, you know, if you can see there's so much suggestion.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even have to do anything. There's already a work. In fact, I discovered there are people who just do wood. Or, you know, like pictures of wood or something, I don't know. Anyway, so like where did I start? I don't know, I do these, you see these little, I use Conti cream, because I can smudge it and I can wipe it, I like the earth color. So I also had been saving this little Bitmoji. I wanted it somewhere, and when you talk about finally titling a piece too, you know, it had an error thing on it, and that also became for me, this is our whole time, everything's an error. It's, so I'm working with that then, so each thing, first I'm trying, sometimes I'm going exactly with the grain, like there are worlds for the eyes here, and then all of a sudden I'm pasting the piece in or something, you know, it's the piece is talking to me constantly when I work. And the problem on working on the wood, like the opposite I have to do about Marianela's sheets of the egg temporary browns and the way we're taught in art, you must have a brown. I mean, I'm a painter, so by working on the wood, it's going to deteriorate. It's going to soak in at different level. All kinds of things are going to happen here. It's not permanent, but that has, and it isn't just the pandemic. It really, that came with a whole series, I think, where I was exploring aging, the acceptance of impermanence, and pretty continual change in, you know, what you're getting in your own body. But then what I was saying, the constant thing of those damn shots, shooting everybody up all over the place, boostering, the fighting about the boostering. Then, of course, the Black Lives Matters and all that, the crazy storming the Capitol, the whatever, you know, the behavior in the street is very, very intense and scary. And then the police tape everywhere, and, you know, upside down, and that it says do not cross, or what now, and then I flip them upside down. Oh, and then these things, talk about dialogue. Those have to do with aphid reading. Yes, the heart reading, because my husband has aphid, and that's been a huge concern during this time. And then my other thing is water. You know, all the Buddhist things are always having water coming down, you know, like clouds to water, or even thoughts. So that's happening in a number of pieces. But so all of a sudden it's water, and this is sort of a vagina here. Probably you don't know that, but you know, these are nipple rings, and I just like that. Again, that becomes a Mother Earth, but it also becomes Frankenstein, a monsterina, like a female Frankenstein. And then like the light bulbs going on, or the different things in the light bulbs, and I was doing a lot of interviewing with the artist mother's stuff on other work, and that's milk. You know, like what, if you think of fluids, the toxicity of everything that's going on. Yeah, and I think that was actually an ad for women saving breast milk, so that children that must have that can have it. And doing it themselves, making their own organizations and how they distribute it. And then here, I was actually, I don't know, I was doing some kind of power fest or something. But, or I had so many things here when you talk about the process. Sometimes I have like, I'm scraping it off, I'm sanding it, I have to start again, or then I'll just paint the thing out, or as I begin painting over, this has had maybe 5 or 6 things also because the paint is soaking in. I have to get these bright colors, I have to keep repeating. Do you have to keep repeating when you layer your work? Let's go to Ariana.
No, I was going to ask you, so you don't do drawing first or sketch, so,
Rarely.
okay.
But
and
that can occur too, that can occur too.
Okay.
Or, you know, when I get lost, when I really get lost, I'll get some, that's right. I'll get some tracing paper. Yeah, I'm lost. And I'll put the tracing paper over it and then I'll start a drawing. And then maybe I'll do 2 or 3 or 4 iterations of the tracing. Yeah, I don't have a fixed process. That's what the thing
I
is.
do have a fixed
It's a surprise all the time what I'm gonna do. It's
Yeah.
some crazy thing, but it's both conceptual and I'm conscious too.
Yeah. No, my process, talking about conceptual, yes, I can go and then I raise the ideas and I do sketches and I erase because I tend to do the, yes, I want to say this and this and this and this and then in my sketch, oh my God, this is so baroque. No. Let's take this away, this, and I choose the principal ideas, the principal figures, images, and then I do the final sketch because I need to be sure that that's what I want. So in the sketch, I very rarely move from that last sketch, and then I begin painting. Because with X and Y, you cannot erase. So if you do a mistake, it's gone.
Can you paint over?
No, because as it is translucent, every layer you do shows at the end.
So you have to know your layers too.
Exactly.
From bottom to top of light,
Exactly.
dark, where you're going, the color
Exactly.
values, all of it.
So,
Yeah.
my struggle is in the first part of the creative process. It's how can I say what I want to say and when I reach that, and I begin with an idea. Words, and then those words transform into images.
Do you do a small little sketch or is it to the scale? Of course, your work's small.
I do sketches like
How tiny are your sketches?
and sometimes the sketches are with sticks and circles. That's the sketch because I want to be, the first thing I have to resolve is the word composition. The composition. The composition. So if the weight of the principal character is here, then I have to do something in the other bottom so the balance is there. And then I have to think what colors do I choose. And it's
Is it more of an intuitive process, you think, by now, or do you really, for every painting, are you really thinking about something from the very beginning, again and again? What I mean is, like, do you quickly know, okay, this is going to be the layout, this is going to be the color? Do you pretty quickly know that?
I think it depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the piece. Some pieces are like this.
You just know.
I know. And others, I go round and round and round. And I'm very obsessive, I don't know.
Uh,
I cannot sleep, I'm constantly thinking how I will resolve it.
Yeah. You know in Frida, you know the Frida movie? So that's Salma Hayek.
Yes.
I think she's in New York during part of the movie with Diego, and she's in the hotel room. He's off working somewhere, and she's sleeping on the bed, or I can't remember. But suddenly, this painting kind of floats in front of her. Do you remember that scene? It's weird scene. It's like this painting that she makes later floats in front of her, and what I feel when I think about that scene as the artist, just seeing completely what the painting's going to be. And I wonder if that ever happens. Like that almost never happens for me. And I was like, when does that happen?
Sometimes.
So that's what I'm saying. Do you just know, like this is what
When I go walking very early in the morning, I used to listen to music. Now, no music, only the birds and what's happening. And I'm thinking about art and suddenly sometimes, yes, I have it. So when I return home, I get stuck.
Wait, there were painters that saw like that. Photography, all of that. I've always thought that it's an astonishing skill to have that visualization in your head and then just move into the painting where, there's always something that has to spark me. And then it's like a journey. I'm going somewhere, and the goal is to figure out where am I going. And I think the hardest or the most fun is the first part for me.
Yes, for me, the same.
Discovering the wonder. Oh my God, what is that? Where's it going? What am I doing? And and then I'm all in trying to do this, the composition, the color, blah, 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 all these elements, because there's so many elements. But then as I'm nearing whatever that completion point is, that can really get awful for me, I have to say. And I worry because, one of the criticisms has always been Umbapachki or something, which word I think for too much. It's just always too much. Because I've always been said too. And if you're coming from the system of overall pattern, people don't, that's so different than the Western thing of the dominant and the, subordinate composition themes, central figure or whatever that we were all taught. And I think both of us have a very strong art history background and drawing and painting, although I've forgotten nearly everything.
And I never studied painting, never.
You never studied painting?
I studied graphic design
She taught herself.
with a book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's sort of mystery, because you just find things. That is, I think that's what keeps me going. I just find things that I don't know where to be there. And even if I come to a point of completion, or I say it's complete for now, I may add something in a few years. Or what I'm really looking forward to is when it really does take, but I won't be around. The full decay, like what's going to happen? It's like when we look at police walls, or your place is full of that too, the floor, the whatever, Yeah, that being able to think that may be coming up. I can't see that, but and sometimes too, you will see, what's that word that used to be like the underlayer, the person would do the first layer in drawing, and then they maybe move a little, it has a word, but of course, underpainting. It's definitely connected to that, but so you won't see in the final version, you won't see those initial little compositional marks, but as time wears on, and you will see that, and then that again is the mark. I love the idea of the mark, the touch of the artist, and that always brings us back to the connection thing. And I have to say though, I felt this great happiness when Savannah said she would work with me on this piece, because I don't think I have actually opened up like literally, she's going to work on the top of the painting now, because and also she's coming in with little creatures on the side, some other stuff, but I don't think I could have done that before this whole time. It didn't occur to me to, to try and make that connection and get through art, because we've talked about this is, we can't march or fight or whatever anymore of the things I used to do. So our art has to be speaking for us.
Then do we have any questions from the audience?
We do.
We do.
We have, and it's similar to what we're already talking about here, but we also have a comment of Diane is loving this comparison of your processes. I'm enjoying it too. The question from Teresa is for Helen about the monsters. And did the monsters evolve out of seeing them in the grain of wood? And did you see something else in the wood before the Trump administration? Were there monsters before these?
A lot of these kinds, no. I think that the real monsters, no, these are all pretty connected. Everything in here, Trump was already monstering. So that was but I have worked with, like I did the turtles, I have done the hybrids and the creatures and but
They morphed into monsters.
yeah, they became more monsters. I thought it was funny that Seth Combs thought the monsters were very fairy tale-like. He thought my monsters weren't that disturbing. Well, some are and some aren't. I can say working on them, they felt disturbing.
Remember the fairy tales were very disturbing.
Yes, that's true.
Exactly.
So that's actually my question, if I can ask a question about how do you sit with that experience while you're painting, while you're working? What is that like for you, and how how do you hold that space for yourself while you're working?
Well, it's about passion. It's something that I need to be alive. And as life is composed with happy things and sad things and fear and hurtful moments, everything that I do is living my life into the painting. So that's how I can paint. And sometimes I cry all day, and sometimes I'm laughing, and my poor children, my poor husband, oh my God, even the cats, this lady's crazy. Let's leave her alone.
Let's see the question, how are we living with her? A lot of it is, there's the physicality of paint, you're mixing the color, there's when you're patterning, there's a repetition that's meditative. So the strange is that whole cathartic thing, you could be doing something absolutely horrific. But you're repeating something, there's a slow, I don't know, I'm just taken to another world. So I'm in another world. The hard part is coming back. And then looking at what you've done. And here in San Diego, my studio is separate than the house, so I can not see it. But when I travel or try to go somewhere else and I'm working on the table in a small quarters, then I'm seeing it all the time, and then I go over and do something. That's not good for me. Like I do have I have to somehow cool down after I work. I don't even know how to describe that. I also take a little bit of time to get into it when I come, but sometimes there can be so much the matter and so much scattering, but if I just start touching my materials, there's a magic in the tools we use, and particularly if I'm exploring, like, how do I use this and that thing I was talking about beginning, being a beginner, because I've lost so many layers of thought and remembrance of how I do things. So I have to be so attentive, because how do you do that, you know? So that in itself captures, that's movement too. There's a certain movement happening, and
Yes.
I think it's only later, like if somebody we start having these, or somebody's looking at it critically, or saying something back to you, or sometimes it's disturbing me, or my husband makes a remark about it, you know, another crazy piece, or comes and says, this is wonderful. By the way, I find either wonderful or horrible, it's no help to me. I don't want any interference in the thought of an audience. Even did you ask us at the beginning or something? I am never thinking. I'm sorry. I know everything. All of marketing is about an audience, and branding is about an audience. Before you even begin, in fact, sometimes when I'm getting halfway getting to write something, let's say, well, who are you writing this to? What's it for? But you know, there's what's the format? Who's the? Which is a basic thing. And then I'm almost bristling. It's like, I mean, I just want help expressing my thing. It is, but I understand that in that gift, or curse, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I have, because I have a long history with it, I've worked that really pushes into topics that people don't push into, that I am speaking for other people.
Yes.
And that means something to me, but I can't, I don't know how I speak, because it will speak to them differently.
Yeah, to each one.
Yeah.
Every person will see our work in a different way.
Yeah. I remember the incredible shock that on this mother series with my pregnancies and all this stuff that's happened, and that's suddenly getting so much attention, that one of the women the most drawn to it was having terrible infertility problems, you know, not had a child, and she's correcting my images. So go figure.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what place that is for someone else, or maybe even watching somebody in motion when you can't move like that. I mean, you can speak to that better than me, but there's something going on there where we can feel into another type of experience that has a relationship to us, but is not going to be what we can do.
Yeah.
Are we out of time? I wonder if I'm gonna say something.
Yeah, I think both of you are real pioneers, I think, in terms of how you can keep a practice going for many years, and also keep changing the practice as other things come into your life, or there are world events that you want to include in the work, or change the work in a way that feels more about what's happening, you know, with you, or with just whatever's going on. I think there is a lot going on in terms of how the work is made and what goes into making the work. So I really see the progression, like having known both of you for a few years now, and also seeing all the work, I see this progression of how things can come to a place where you can make work like this. I think that's really important for somebody viewing this work to understand that you have a long history of making provocative images that are part of your, like, you know, part of what you want to bring out. And I appreciate that very much. So, in closing, I think, we have just time.
3 minutes, 4
Yeah.
minutes. Oh my God.
I think I would like to ask, where are you going next? Like, what is happening? Could you just say a little bit about if you have other shows coming up, or if you're working on something really interesting, or just anything you want to tell people? This is your chance.
So next I have a show at the Thinking.
Yeah.
They say so because I have been waiting for 3 years. Let's see if that happens. Yeah, in June, this June, when the Thinking is open.
Okay.
And what's new? I don't know. Each painting will be new.
Yeah. That's a new show, and you have a lot of new work in it.
Yes. 23.
Wow. Okay. So please go to the Timken. It's a free museum, and people can go as many times as you want to see the show. How about you, Heather?
Well, I have a goal to physically get myself to Boston. This may not happen because the Boston Museum during this whole COVID time acquired 6 pieces of mine, and 2 of them are on view and show. Got new light, connections and encounters, which is what everything we're talking about is. And it may happen, it may not. I've seen pictures again. I've seen Victoria's been wonderful, and it was Victoria. She hasn't seen any of it. She got the work without seeing it real. That's something that never happened
Yes.
before COVID that anyone did that. So I have a hope that in June I would go see that show. It goes down at the end of August, but I don't have anything else scheduled. I wasn't even going to start another piece because I'm also I'm trying to visit and be with family. I tried to also take a real break. I have to stop it. I have to stop the work at certain points. But I couldn't help myself. I started another one. and we're both doing a similar thing with this augmented reality. I couldn't believe it when I saw that she was doing that. So I don't know if that's like the moon cycle. Now that we've gotten to know each other.
It's like, yeah.
Well, thank you both. It was so great to talk to you, and
Thank
have more insight into so many things. So thanks for chatting. And thank you, Lynn, for
Thank you. This will be on the Art Produce
This will be
YouTube
on the
channel.
Produce
We
YouTube
have no
channel.
clue what it will look like. I was like, oh, geez, I should have been here.
Signing off. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you all.
Bye, Bhavna, you're such a wonderful
Yes.
anchor.